Dzień dobry Państwu.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to invite you to yet another presentation. My name is Aleksandr Rochowicz, and I am a commercial manager of Surha Chem Polska. I am Jonna Kutyła, and I'm account manager in Surha Chem Poland. I would like to present to you our opinion and a little bit of information insofar as the change of approach to natural solution and sustainable development. We'll be also asking you what is your opinion as producers and consumers. Surheim is a distribution company with global reach. We have a very varied portfolio of products. We try to identify the trends that appear on the market and develop concepts based on those trends. As you probably know, for some years already, natural products and sustainable development are one of the most important trends, strong trends. When we were preparing ourselves for this presentation, we were wondering what is the definition of sustainable development. Sufrahem for a long time, in Sufrahem, natural products from renewable sources are the very essence of our development, meaning that when we are looking for new suppliers, reaching for new products for our offer or starting production, we take these assumptions into consideration. We apply the goals of the United Nations. Some of these assumptions for us are, of course, the most important because we are a production company. So sustainable infrastructure and logistics and quality of life are important for us. Let's look at the current situation in the cosmetic industry. There is about 120 billion packaging produced yearly globally, and we have about 1 billion ton of CO2 in the world without air or road transport. So 1/3 of landfill waste in the United States comes from cosmetic industry, mostly from colored cosmetics and others. Well, the world is changing. Let's recall what did it look like in the past. The 60 nature, veganism, then consumptionism appeared, and abundance of everything, a lot of products and a lot of packaging. And in the end, about 2003, there was recycling and segregation of waste that appeared, and information about what the packaging consists of and how to get rid of it. This is very important in our industry because in reality, without packaging, we are unable to sell its contents. We want to show you that the changes are happening. They're unavoidable. We are part of them, but they're positive. And just like veganism started in the 60s, now this is the solution of sustainable development both in the food industry and cosmetic industry. Going back to the definition of sustainable development, we can notice that there are many words that we use here, especially if we transfer that into our own local market, so into the Polish language. There are a lot of words, well, we have borrowed a lot from other languages, so we can be wondering if they all mean natural and sustainable. Preparing this presentation, of course, we have drawn from many sources and we have reached to many media and summarizing information about what the market expects from us, what our clients expect from us. We know that 60% of consumers want to buy more products from upcycling, from reprocessed materials. We know that we can diminish CO2 emissions by 70% using refilling packaging, refillable. And there is data from Intel that within the last 5 years, the number of products with the claim natural have increased by 30%, over 30%. We know that almost 70% of consumers want to decrease the use of plastics in 2022, and they do expect that from us as producers. But on the other hand, ourselves as producers, we introduce on the market a lot of packaging which are put into waste after using it just once. This is 90%, 95% of cosmetic packaging, and there's a lot of water that we use in our industry. So it doesn't go hand in hand in what we offer. So what appears on the market, what is being sold? When we look at the launches of products with the claim natural, ethical, and environmental, we have to notice that there are at the same time claims, functional claims, that appear very rarely with natural products or environmentally friendly products. So whatever is supposed to get rid of wrinkles, well, if we don't have a natural product, we don't offer that. What's very interesting is the dynamic of the market in the new launches. According to Intel in 2010 and in 2010 and 2011, the groups of products with claims, ethical and pro-environmental claims, were on the 5th, 7th, and 10th position. It has changed a lot within the subsequent 10 years. The same groups have moved to the 5th and 8th place, and among the most important claims that appear in the launches are 3 subsequent claims that somehow relate to the naturalness of the product, pro-environmental approach, organic approach, eco approach. Preparing this presentation, we have carried out a survey among the groups in our cosmetic industry, and we have asked what did it mean to them, sustainable development. And there were 6 main opinions differentiated. There were many of them, like let's use less water, or let's use the natural ingredients of natural origin. Well, direction and solutions for all these groups was very similar, but for formulators, priorities within the sustainable development is to use ingredients of natural origin, the reduction of the number of waste, so upcycling and recycling. In case of producers, the situation is similar. For them, it's very important to use natural origin ingredients, and recycling is important for them. Brand owners have a little bit of a different approach because they are more open to consumers. Their priorities is related to what is going to be included on the label of the product, which is decrease of the use of water, CO2 footprint reduction, and upcycling. Why sustainable development is important? Extracting information that we receive from the clients, analyzing their answers, what usually appears is that sustainable development is important because this is necessary for our future as humanity and for our industry. The second thing that appears is that this is the right thing to do. Very, very few respondents were saying that we'll be doing that because other companies do that. So this approach to sustainable development is right now very aware, and it's part of our life. Speaking about the consumers and their behaviors can be considered together with the behavior of the brands on the market. These 2 groups have to develop simultaneously. If brands propose very innovative products, or those that are not really targeted at the groups of consumers where they operate, the market is too small for them, and the consumers are unable to absorb whatever is shown to them. Looking at the reverse situation, we can deal with a group of consumers that is very well educated or has very specific expectations. And if as a brand we don't propose adequate solutions, adequately innovative or not targeted at the given group of consumers, we will not be successful as a brand on the market. This is an example of the expectations of different age groups. And in case of millennials and Gen X, to achieve sustainable development, it's very important to limit the number of disposable packaging. In case of the older generation, baby boomer, is application of natural origin ingredients. There are two interdependencies between the generations of consumer. This is disposable income and broadly understood interests and education. As we can see from this graph, older generations have higher disposable income, while Gen Z or Gen Alpha are educated completely differently. When I was in primary school, nobody talked about recycling, about climate change, but my 5-year-old son knows perfectly what to do with a container that is left from yogurt he has eaten, which shows that the education is completely different for the youngest. Eco products or bio products or organic products are still a luxury good. And on our graph, there are two gaps that we perceive, and they should be filled somehow. There should be products or organic products, eco products that will have lower price, and there's the attitude and the message and the adaptation of communication should change in separate groups. Communication is something that we would like to pay attention to. Thanks to communication, we can reach our client. Pay attention to the fact that 1% of young consumers believe the traditional advertising. 1% is nothing. Over 90% of youth believes influencers. 94% of them use the information that they get from their friends and family. So they really base their opinions on social media. Social media influence baby boomers only in 41%. For example, me, older mother with 2 children, but 80% of the Gen Z. So the channels through which we want to reach these consumers have to be adapted to that. Now we would like to ask you a question. If you believe that the natural ingredients are safer and better than synthetic ones, a lot of people would probably answer yes, natural or more interesting, but I'm curious to know if they are safer. And we have full assurance that natural means that it's going to be safe and it's going to be safe for our clients. There is a definition of something which is around in our community, which is clients are looking for natural products, but what is interesting that according to the data of the medical agencies, 62% of products which are carcinogenic are natural substances. Yeah, so of course there are viruses included, but still the percentage of natural substances that are dangerous for us is very high. And yet there is this chemophobia. So we would like to point attention to the information about products and natural products. For us as producers and people who deal with the delivery chains, information about product is very important. What is lacking right now is harmonized norms and standards, and this means a lot of commotion. even if we have such things as ISO 16128, there are two indexes that are very similar insofar as the description, but they inform about something completely different. For us as the producers in the beauty industry, this is understandable. But for our consumers, these indexes just introduce chaos. There are a lot of labels on the market related to eco or bio or organic products or green products, and they're supposed to create the positive image of those products. There are about 100 such labels globally. In Europe, about 60 are used. We have grouped these labels into three main groups, and the first one is the gold standard known to all of us, like Fairtrade or Colabel. There are also those labels that have the criteria of measurement defined. In case of the second labels are those that are used by producers or distributors, and they're related with the impact of the material to the environment, if it's biodegradable, if it's natural. And the third one are the labels which are not really developed, that describe the whole sustainable development of the product. And conclusions. So we're about to finish. In general, this entire presentation was supposed to pay your attention to the subject of sustainable development and how we approach it. It seems to us that the definition of sustainable development requires to include into it the effectiveness or efficiency of sustainable development. We have to remember about it that when a client is buying a beauty product, wants it to really work. If it's something anti-wrinkle, it should work. This is something that we give them at first. But as a cosmetic industry, we should feel obliged to document the entire life cycle of raw materials and products. And once again, what's important is the message, the means that we use to reach consumers, to give them information about products that we are selling. And the question that we should answer together is natural better than synthetic? How to describe the life cycle of cosmetic ingredients and the market product. We should actually ensure open access to information about the life cycle of the product for our client. How to specify in numbers, in regulations, the sustainable development. Now, an attempt to translate into Polish. We need green industries, not one washed with green. Let's not confuse consumers. Let's not use empty claims. Beauty industry is extremely dynamic and complex. As consumers and as a producers, there are many factors for us when we buy something and introduce it on the market. There are various emotions. We want to diminish the CO2 footprint, impact on the environment. We want products that are nice to use, but we want to get rid of wrinkles. We want to create a brand that will be successful and will bring us income. We employ people. We solve various problems with which we encounter on an everyday basis. But we also have to act according to regulations, according to the law. We all create a sector, an industry, which has the opportunity not only to be led by emotions and healthy reasoning, and we can do that proposing sustainable solutions, well-thought solutions. Thank you. Thank you very much for your attention.